The best positive news we're celebrating this week: the world's first upcycled skyscraper is a finalist for the coveted Earthshot Prize when the owners of Sydney, Australia's AMP Centre wanted to replace the original 19th structure with a bigger, better, and more energy-efficient building. They also wanted to do it without demolishing the old building. The new building now stands 676 feet tall and retains 95 of the original building's core as well as 65 of the original building's structure, including beams and columns. The process saved more than 12,000 tons of embodied carbon, the equivalent of 35,000 flights between Sydney and Melbourne. It was completed in 2022, but was just named one of 15 finalists for Prince William's 5th annual Earthshot Prize, a coveted competition that celebrates big ideas aimed at tackling climate change. Why is this good news? While companies may resort to demolition as a cheaper option when constructing new buildings, they are not considering its steep environmental costs. This project proves that retrofitting buildings that have stood for decades offers a commercially viable and scalable solution to decarbonizing the built environment. Jane Fonda and 500 other Hollywood stars are reviving the Committee for the First Amendment. What does that mean? Good news to celebrate on Indigenous Peoples Day, the first to call these lands home. Indigenous people in America continue to make the country a better, thriving place. Here are just some of their stories to celebrate today. Through Detours Hawaii's Indigenous communities are working to educate settlers and tourists alike on Hawaii and its colonial past and present, and creatively raising awareness about decolonization. An Indigenous design mural is the largest in the world and doubles as a giant solar power generator, reducing 150 tons of CO2 emissions annually. A South Dakota YMCA branch worked with an Indigenous tribe to develop a tiny home project to help address the reservation's housing shortage. Gifted Link, an Indigenous, mother-daughter-led nonprofit organization in Los Angeles, is addressing challenges that Indigenous communities confront daily with translation services, connecting migrants to translators for border documentation, and more. Indigenous farmers are reclaiming time-honored agricultural techniques to achieve food sovereignty or the right to healthy and culturally appropriate meals produced locally using sustainable methods and agricultural practices. After a decade of work, an Indigenous tribe revived its local beaver population to fight wildfires in California's southern Sierra Nevada mountains. Indigenous tribes collaborated with the Montana Department of Transportation to design and build one of the largest networks of wildlife highway crossings in the U.S., reducing animal collisions by 7-1. Last year, the Smithsonian and NOAA rolled out a first-of-its-kind ocean conservation plan in the country, which will prioritize Indigenous knowledge. More good news stories about Indigenous communities once endangered due to hunting. Green turtles have bounced back thanks to global conservation efforts in what scientists are calling a major conservation victory. New data shows that green turtle populations, one of the largest species of sea turtles, are bouncing back from the brink of extinction. The success is thanks to decades of conservation efforts involving things like protecting eggs, releasing hatchlings on beaches, and reducing accidental capture in fishing nets. Green turtles were once hunted extensively for turtle soup, its eggs, and decorative shells, and their numbers plummeted, leaving it listed as endangered since the 1930s. They are one of 7 living species of sea turtles, 2 of which are critically endangered. Why is this good news? Researchers have long been worried about an extinction crisis, so this is important progress to celebrate, especially as the turtles are threatened by non-human causes like climate change too. We know that conservation projects are extremely effective, and this is further proof. Not to mention that protecting and preserving nature and biodiversity saves humanity too. Florida's leatherback sea turtles rebound to record high following devastating hurricane season. Clean energy jobs grew 3x faster than the rest of the U.S. workforce in 2024, now employing 3.5 million Americans. More than 520,000 jobs were added by the clean energy and clean vehicle sectors over the last 5 years in the U.S., an increase of 17, which far exceeds employment gains in fossil fuels, gas and diesel motor vehicles, and the overall U.S. economy, according to a new report. More than 3.5 million people in the U.S. now hold jobs related to clean energy, and more than are employed as nurses, cashiers, servers, or elementary school teachers. Experts said clean energy was one of the hottest and most promising job sectors in the country at the end of 2024, but warned that continued progress is at risk due to recent changes to U.S. energy policy under the Trump administration. Through a first-of-its-kind program, North Carolina eliminated $6.5 billion in medical debt for 2.5 million residents last year. North Carolina's state government announced the first-of-its-kind medical debt relief program. Now, the state says it's eliminated $6.5 billion in debt for over 2.5 million people, nearly 1/4 of its residents. With an average of $2,600 in debt erased, the impact will be life-changing for families. In the announcement, Governor Josh Stein said, "No one chooses to have a heart attack or get diagnosed with a chronic condition, you just have to deal with it." Today's announcement will free people from the financial stress so that they can focus on getting healthy. Why is this good news? According to undue medical debt, previously RIP medical debt, over 100 million people in the US struggle under the weight of medical debt, together owing at least $220 billion in past due medical expenses. Nobody should crush by medical debt for an unexpected health event, and North Carolina is seeing that millions of its residents aren't. Lego donates MRI scanner toys to children in hospitals. New research finds they really reduce anxiety. A retired tech fairy refurbishes old laptops and gives them away for free to people who need them. Craig Clark is from Sarasota, Florida, but he's also known as the tech fairy. After retiring from managing a